1979, the country was in chaos. Afghanistan's pro-Soviet government was trying to contain a revolt by religious rebels known as the mujahidin. Help from the Soviet Union was requested, and the USSR wanted to protect its influence in the region. What began as trepid assistance became a full-blown war, one that would go on for 9 years. The U.S., who felt it was losing its grip on the region, was brewing a policy to promote radical Islamist and anti-communist forces. By raising the political and military cost of the war in Afghanistan for the USSR, the U.S. hoped it would gain the upper hand in the Cold War.
If the U.S. didn't support the Mujahideen regime, none of it would have happened.
But that was the U.S. plan, a trap codenamed Operation Cyclone, funded by the CIA and designed to draw the USSR into an expensive and distracting Vietnam-like war. 20 years since the end of the Soviet-Afghan war, the U.S. now finds itself fighting against the very movement it helped arm.
In the Soviet times, in Afghanistan, our troops controlled almost 90% of the territory, not only the major cities. And Najibullah was not the mayor of Kabul, as Karzai is right now. And in the Soviet times, in '84, the poppy crop was 240 tons compared to 8,200 tons now. So that was the major difference. And like NATO, we were constructing, not destroying. And another major difference, why there were so many casualties on the Soviet side, because we didn't use air bombardment.
Real News senior editor Paul Jay sat down with former senior CIA analyst McGovern, who helped prepare daily intelligence briefings for Presidents Reagan and Bush 1, to get his reaction to the Russia Today coverage.
So the Russians are saying, essentially, the American trap created the conditions for the mess that there is now. And I guess this is part of the whole blowback theory we've heard from Chalmers Johnson and others. What do you make of the Russian version of events?
Well, I can understand how they feel. They were mousetrapped. And it was before Reagan. It was Brzezinski, it was Gates, it was those folks that were so anti-communist that they wanted to get the Soviet Union embroiled in a Vietnam-type conflict so that they could not prevail like nobody prevails in Vietnam-type conflicts, and that it could contribute to the Soviet Union's problems. And in a sense, they were right. In a sense, they were right, because that was one of the contributing factors of the overextension of the Soviet Union, why it imploded during Gorbachev. It also comes out of a Eurocentric sort of point of view, where Brzezinski, has said explicitly, who cares about what happens to these brown Afghans, when the prize is in Europe and the Soviet Union is going to fall because of all this, and it is kind of a racist sort of attitude. Now, of course, when Reagan came in with Bill Casey, the consummate anti-communist, then we were really going to get these guys. That's when we recruited, the likes of Osama bin Laden to go in there and gave them Stinger missiles to shoot down Russian planes. And that's where the CIA got involved in this incredibly complicated and expensive covert action, okay? And of course, we prevailed because the Russians had to leave. But of course, we left and left the country a shambles.